I will go to the fast track to innovation, which funds European co-creation, as they call it, to advance innovation and enter the market within 3 years. So they really have a goal for you to meet. And everything you do in this instrument has to really be focused on that, on that goal. You can test, demonstrate, and validate your innovation with users before full commercial rollout. So you already have to have a prototype, or at least are there to produce one or more prototypes. Technology at least demonstrated in a relevant environment, which they call in the European language is TRL6. And again, any technology area within civilian purpose. European Commission is not as strict, as I just mentioned, with the Eurostars with the civilian purpose. So in that case, you might get away with developing a super material that later on can end up in the military, as long as you're not testing with users in that sector. So as long as you're testing in the civilian domain, it will be okay. And deadlines, well, there's one coming up very soon, which is already June. Basically, if you haven't started with this yet, I would not go for it, but rather go for the deadline in October, because that will give you some time to form a consortium and to really write down your idea well. Competition is pretty high in this scheme, so you do have to, I think you have to think about processing time of a proposal of about 3 months, 2 to 3 months time to do it. Not necessarily man-hour 3 months, but the throughput time. So if you work on it 1 day a week, you need 3 months, sort of. I'm just now guessing. Depends on how well you write also, how effective you are. Who is it for? Consortia working with these groundbreaking innovations, of course, but especially companies that want to collaborate, to collaborate. That part is essential to put the innovation in the market. And this can be a longer value chain. It can be supplier and launching customers, but it can also be bigger than that, so that you have multiple parts of the chain. But it can also be if you combine different technologies or contents into one novel product. Like if you're building a data platform and you need the data from different partners, and then combine it into one whole, and then you have your users, you could also use it for that. But always there is a very strong link to the customer or the users of your technology. Activities that you can get funded is piloting, testbeds, system validation, validation of the business models, which is also something that is important to not just take for granted that can be funded. It's actually what they also expect of you to do within these projects. And standard setting if possible. So in case you are working especially with digital solutions, but also, for example, in smart energy, they don't want to have the 20th idea there that doesn't fit with other ideas. So they really want new, well, if there is one USB standard for your sector, that is what they're looking for, more or less. Funding goes through the Horizon 2020 framework from the European Commission. There is 70% funding for companies, so this is a big way up from what I just was saying. There is 100% funding for non-profit research organizations. However, there is a limit to how many of those research organizations you can have, which follows in one of the next slides. Eligible costs are personnel costs. Other direct costs, so that can be consumables, depreciation of equipment, rental of equipment, travel, things like this. You get 25% overhead on the direct cost, and you get subcontracting funded. For anyone who is a very quick calculator, if you calculate personnel costs, other direct costs, and the overhead cost, together, and then the 70%, you get to roughly something like 87.5% funding on the direct costs, so not including subcontracting. which is very, very nice to have, I think, for a company working on a fast track to its innovation. Participation of 3 and maximum 5 legal and different legal entities, independent of each other, in one consortium, of course, at least 3 different EU member states. So if you have 3 partners involved, 3 of them, they all have to be from different countries. Well, there's member states and there's countries associated to Horizon 2020. With that, you can think of Switzerland, you can think of Israel, Norway. So there is some of them. And all consortium members are from the EU or the associated countries. So in a lot of the European schemes, you can actually have somebody from the US involved or from Canada, even though they will not get the funding. But in this case, they are not even allowed to participate. And then there is allocation of the budget, has also to be split. And this is why I said there is a limit on the amount of research institutes that you can include, because at least 60% of the overall budget needs to go to industry. And then they say, or a minimum of 2 industry partners out of a consortium of 3 to 4, or 3 industry partners out of a consortium of 5. But you have to, I would definitely make sure that you have both the 60% budget rule and the minimum amount of industry partners. So they do say that it's or, but it's more or less and. Recasted EC contribution is not more than 3 million. So I see projects normally not less than 1.5 million and normally starting at 2 million. So somewhere between 2 and 3. So if you have a project that's less than 2 million, I'm not sure if this is the right way to go. Also because, as I said, it takes some time and some work to apply for this. So don't do it if you don't need the big money. How to apply? You have to register at the European Participant Portal, as it's called, to receive a participant identification code, a PIC. That is also, again, not rocket science, but you need to take some time. If you register there, you first register yourself as a person, and then you register your company. And then the company will get the participant identification code. With that, with both of those fixed, you can start the submission process. You can start out filling administrative forms, and you can fill out the Part B template. So that's a Word document that you have to fill out and upload as a PDF. And then you get ranked on excellence, impact, and implementation. You probably, throughout this presentation, you see this coming back a lot because they're trying to harmonize over the different instruments, excellence, impact, implementation. Excellence is a lot to do with having a good plan, having a clear plan that is logic, that it's good to follow, has high value for Europe. In this case, they are looking for a high degree of novelty and high risk. Market uptake within the 3 years, as said, and also a lot more innovation or higher innovation rates than the current state-of-the-art solutions are bringing. So really breakthrough innovation are they looking for. In the impact, they want you to focus on the time to initial market take-up, enhance innovation capacity for the consortium and Europe in general, create substantial demand, strengthen the competitiveness of the partners, return on investment and impact at the European level, and for the implementation to have a good work plan, effective, cost-effective. I think that all sounds very logic, but it's really important that when you have a goal, you actually show through the work plan activities that you are going to get to that goal. Groundbreaking innovation again, risk mitigation, very important with a high-risk project, and also have good decision structures within the consortium. Evaluation, how does that work? All proposals are reviewed by experts invited by the European Commission and ranked according to the evaluation criteria. And all proposals will receive an evaluation summary report. So even if you don't make it, you will get a report, and you can actually improve yourself if you have failed. You have to have pass a minimum threshold to be funded. And once you make it over the threshold, the highest ranking proposal will be funded until the budget is depleted. You get 3 months after the cutoff date to get the outcome, and they strive to have the 6 months for after that to sign the agreement.